Yo, what's happening guys, KingGBL here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Level 1 to Legend. This is the series in which we take a level 1 account in Pokemon Go and try to hit Legend within the very first season. We're currently roughly 24 days into this challenge, and in today's video we're going to be trying to make a push towards Expert. We're starting off today's video at 2723 ELO. We're only 27 ELO off our goal, and I think we can definitely hit it today. Now, over the last week in Halloween Cup, I had a lot of success with this team right here. However, I decided because this is supposed to be a challenge, I'm not going to use this team to hit Expert, I'm going to wait, so I stopped playing for the last couple of days because this team was just too easy. This challenge is supposed to represent the struggle of a level 1 player who is starting off Pokemon Go for the first time and basically trying to level up and hit Legend for the first time. So I don't necessarily want to spam an extremely powerful meta team over and over again until I hit Legend. I think basically anybody could do that. So I decided to take the last couple of days off Go Battle League, wait until Open Great League is back, and try to hit Expert with a completely different team. If you're enjoying this challenge, please drop a like in the video, subscribe if you haven't yet done so, and let's have a look at this Halloween event to see what we need to do. Once again, a big shout out to Galax for these graphics, these are so useful. Looking at the part 2 of the Halloween event, there are a couple of really good things we can get. The two Pokemon that I mainly put a focus on was Phantom and Inkay. Trevenant and Malamar are two Pokemon that I really want to get for this account. Now, I could have been catching a lot of Froakies during the event, which I have been, but unfortunately for the season I only have one Elite Charge TM, and I think I'll be using it for Feraligatr. Now, I was having a look at the next event. We actually have Bunnelby spawns for the next event. I decided that I probably won't be building any XL Pokemon, but I sort of realised if I can get myself up to like level 35, I could build some Pokemon like Sableye or Diggersby with less optimal IVs. Those Pokemon are very powerful, and it might be worth just building them as level 45 Pokemon. So what I'm going to try to do is make the most of any XP events that we have, and I'm going to try my best to stay on top of gifting, because the XP you get from gifting is just second to none. Another couple of things I'm deciding to focus on is getting Pancham candies and getting the dark catches for Pancham. In the research, you get a free Pancham, and it's eligible for Great League, so we could potentially build a Pangoro. But as I mentioned, the main focus is going to be getting a good Malamar for Great League. I want to run a team of Malamar, Clodsire, and Feraligatr. I got a really high ranked Totodile, which I'm still working on getting candies for. Inkays are very common in this event, compared to the previous event with Inkay spawns, so I'm very happy about that. They are the rare spawn in the event, so they don't spawn as much as, for example, Phantom, but I was able to get some extra candies, and that definitely will help us along quite a lot. Now, on the first day this event came out, I spent about 2 hours grinding, and guys, I got super unlucky with IVs. You will see a couple of Inkays and a few Phantoms that look like they're decent. However, I got absolutely nothing from the first time. At the time of recording this is actually 2 days later, and I still haven't got myself a good Inkay, which is kind of insane. I always do this Rocket Grunt right here because it gives you the candies for Wooper, so we try to find those as much as possible, and we have been finding the occasional Barboach. Once again, with this challenge, the most difficult thing is definitely candies. That's why I've got myself some Mega Pokemon. I used the free remote raid pass that I got from research on another Mega Sableye, and with this current bonus, sometimes you do get Barboach spawns and Wooper spawns, which is amazing, just getting that Pineapple Berry, the double candy, and it really helps us. Same with Totodile actually. Over the last couple of days, I found a few wild Totodiles, and we're actually able to build our Feraligatr. We use our Elite Charge TM, and with all of the extra candies we're getting for Wooper, we're able to build Clodsire now. So all of a sudden, 30 days into this challenge, we're able to get a really high rank Feraligatr with Hydro Cannon, and I have a rank 18 built Clodsire. So hopping into Go Battle League, I'm really not sure what to run. My plan was to run Malamar, but like I said, I just could not get any good Malamars. I don't want to waste all the candies and dust on a less optimal Malamar, so I decided for the first battles, we're going to run with Wigglytuff. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I absolutely hate Wigglytuff. I've been calling this Pokemon the Pink Turd. Now suddenly I'm spamming this Pokemon, using it on my main account, and now using it on the 1 to Legend series. It is kind of funny how these things come back around again. I don't necessarily want to use Wigglytuff, but with this challenge, you sort of have to use what you've got, and this is what we've got for the time being. The opponent has an Ariados here. This matchup is a match that you would think is good for Clodsire, having a super effective Stone Edge. However, Ariados is so spammy, they can basically 2-shield through the Clodsire with Trailblaze. Ariados is kind of an interesting Pokemon, not a Pokemon I've had the most success with in Open Great League, but it is a Pokemon that I recognise as being very good and very strong in this meta in certain points. I just let this move go, the opponent goes for a lunge, we come into Gator, and silly enough, I go for a CMP tie right here. Definitely not making the best plays here over the last couple of days, they go for Trailblaze. I pretty much just want to get rid of the opponent. That's, I guess, one reason to CMP the opponents, just to make sure that they basically die, right? You can get rid of them. They come back into the Malamar here. I decide to chip it here, and we're pretty much trying to sweep with Gator. I try to go for a catch. The opponent comes into Dugong. I can get off a Swift before they get off an Icy Wind, so this is a very valuable chip in this matchup. Bang! That's going to do a decent amount of damage, and the opponent, of course, will go for an Icy Wind. At this point, I know that the Malamar's got a lot of energy. I basically need to get as much energy as possible here. I'm going to actually shield up the Wigglytuff here, because my switch clock will be coming up quite soon here. I was going to commit to the Charm Down, but I thought the opponent would swap at that exact moment, knowing that they won't get off the move. So that's kind of why I threw that move right there. We come into the Feraligatr, basically force the energy off Malamar. The opponent actually goes for a superpower. We come into Wigglytuff, and yeah, unfortunately they will get off another one. So maybe had I committed to the farm down, we might have won that match. However, both of our Pokemon would just get superpowered, so I think we still lose that match anyway. Pretty neutral lead in the next match. Dunsparce is not a bad matchup for Wigglytuff at all here. I believe we do win CMP as well. The opponent builds up to 7 here. They try to get off both moves before they get debuffed. We get off the Icy Wind here. This is perfect for me, because we can take a second move. It is tempting to shield here, but I think we can basically just charm it the whole way down. The opponent comes into a Drifblim. I come into Feraligatr. I'm going to see what we can do here. The opponent builds up to the Shadow Ball. Unfortunately though, they do go for the Icy Wind bait, which is kind of annoying. I do 4 and fro for good timing. I'm using a 2-turn move. Against 3-turn moves, you want to do 1, 4, 7, 10. Unfortunately, the opponent lives that move. I'm going to have to take another Icy Wind, which is super annoying. And back in comes, in fact, a Chestnut. Now we're double debuffed. The opponent can take this move. It still does a lot of damage. I come in for a snipe of Quadsire, basically hoping to farm this Pokemon down. They will get off a Frenzy Plant. It's going to hurt a lot, but I decide to hold on to the shield for now. The opponent will send to get off a second one. I'm going to just basically shield here. This match is basically going to come down to fast moves, I think. I'm not sure if we get off any moves on our back Pokemon. I'm basically trying to stall the clock by throwing this move. Once again, trying to stall my clock, trying to keep Clodsire alive if possible. We're going to swap into Wigglytuff, try to snipe it with the charms. The opponent throws off the move here, and this is going to get very, very sketchy. We still, I believe, can take a Drill Run, just about, but how are we going to get rid of Chestnut? We can't exactly Shadow Claw down, and in fact, the opponent comes into Chestnut, takes a Poison Sting, and then they just basically, roll out us down in the end. So good games there, definitely super awkward, and it feels like Wigglytuff, it's just not quite doing the job in Great League. Even like this whenever I win lead, they come into Dunsparce, and I just don't have a direct answer to it. I come into Clodsire, and in this matchup, I make a bit of a mistake here. The opponent goes for a Drill Run, I can take 2 of these moves. I'm going to do 4 and fro here on the potential Earthquake. In this matchup, I should have just went straight for the Earthquake, because I can take another move, and I can make it to 2 Earthquakes. So by going for Stone Edge, that's a big mistake. That means I need to throw basically 3 moves if I wanted to take alignment, right? 1 for the shield and 1 for the knockout. I'm expecting the opponent to start shielding at this point, and this is starting to get hairy. The opponent does let it go though, and we'll see what they decide to come in with. They come in with Malamar. We just about make it to a Stone Edge, which is a very valuable chip. The opponent, of course, will probably superpower and dip the Wigglytuff. We come in here, get a Charm through. This will be a superpower. So that one Charm that went through will be doing a lot of damage. We both insta-swap into Feraligatr. Now, non-Shadow versus non-Shadow. Typically, you can take 2 Hydro Cannons and survive both of them. So I decide here to build up to almost back-to-back. I am not going to shield this move. I do believe I survive it still. The opponent will shield this move. I let this go, hoping I just live on 1 HP, not give the opponent too much extra energy. We do get off the second Hydro Cannon, which is perfect. I've got very good IVs on this Feraligatr, and we come into Wigglytuff. I go for this move immediately. I don't want the opponent to get off 2 moves here. That would be basically the worst case scenario for me. The opponent actually ends up swapping out into Malamar, and that's going to be GG's. They ended up basically transferring a full Charm, so they had no chance of getting a move there because they got less fast moves for the price of my Charm. In comes the Jumpluff lead. Very awkward here. I can of course go for the Icy Wind, which will look to one-shot them, and these charms are absolutely chunky charms. We've got some chunky charms. In comes the, once again, Dunsparce swap. I just don't know what to do with this thing. That's kind of the big issue with this team. I decided to stay in to debuff the opponent, and then potentially come in and maybe get a bunch of energy with Feraligatr or something like that. Or maybe I'm just sacking the Wiggly at this point. I think that's what I decided to do. Get the debuff, eat the energy here, come into Clodsire and commit to a very, very aggressive Poison Sting down. We can definitely take 2 moves very comfortably, and we have debuffed the opponent. They come in for a snipe of Jumpluff. I decided to let this go, thinking it's only an Aurelius. The opponent does go for Aurelius. I overfarm slightly, go for a Stone Edge, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do. They do actually shield that move, so I'm in a position here where I can still take an Energy Ball, and I can look to basically get rid of the Jumpluff. We have Feraligatr in a very good position now. We're up a shield. We can potentially get up energy here as well, and they come into their own Feraligatr. This is a little bit awkward. I do end up going for a CMP tie on the opponent. I decide that a Hydro Cannon's probably going to hit harder, so I decide to shield that move. We end up going for a CMP here once again, just as I get to 2 moves. This one Hydro Cannon will not quite knock it out. This is getting very, very dicey now. Bang. I kind of need to get rid of this Dunsparce as soon as possible here. I basically need to be able to make another Hydro Cannon versus the Feraligatr, and by the looks of things, we just about make it. Very, very close game there. Good games well played. Opposing Feraligatrs also are a bit of an issue for this team in the back as well. So yeah, this team I'm using, it just doesn't really feel like it's working out that well. I wish I could be using something else. I don't have a Malamar build. There are like different Pokemon that I could be using, which might feel a little bit better. But just for now, I'm not really feeling this team too much, but I think I decide to persevere with the team just a little bit longer. We get another fantastic lead, and the opponent comes into a Drapion. I make a huge mistake here by doing this. I think, if anything, it might be a consideration just to stay in with Wigglytuff, or swap immediately. Because here's the problem, they're up 2 Aqua Tails already. they can flip this matchup even in just even energy situations. So by basically giving them that huge lead, I'm allowing them to flip this matchup, which is super frustrating. I decide here I want to try to get a second shield off the opponent, get all shields down at the very least. I go for the extra here. I just realize, like, yeah, the opponent's going to heavily outpace me. If I survive that move, that'll be great. I come in with Ugly, go for the charm down, and it's just like, my backline, it just never answers safe swaps well. Whether it's Dunsparce, whether it's this thing, it's just never answering safe swaps well. They come into Fortress, they come into Malamar, and this is starting to look very tricky for me. We land the Hydro Cannon, however the opponent can basically build up to 2 moves here. They land one, and we're basically in a very tough spot. I just don't think I can win this one. The opponent just made it to the superpower there. So we can see the match. We go 2 free, unfortunately, and we're down to 2706. We're not going in the right direction here. Like I said, I'm trying to persevere with the team somewhat, give the team a full chance, but so far it's just not working out for me. We get this in the lead. This is a fairly close matchup in the zero shield scenario. We go for 1 on Swift right here. If the opponent lets this go, we can basically charm it the whole way down. The opponent does let it go, and I think I decide to go for a catch on the potential discharge. Try to keep the Wiggly alive just in case there is something I need it for in the back. The opponent comes into a Dugong. I 7 and throw the Stone Edge here. Stone Edge, super effective. The opponent probably is expecting me to be on Sludge Bomb, so let it go. We land the Stone Edge, and that's heavy damage on them. I think I should let this move go here. I can 4 and throw the next Stone Edge here. I'll look to basically threaten the knockout. The opponent's got me debuffed, but this move should still knock out. I come into Wigglytuff, basically to sack it at this point, get the opponent energy dry. I'm going to wait down my switch clock, and then I'm going to come into the Feraligatr. Unfortunately, they do get an extra Ice Shard through, but that should make the farm down very easy for me here. We come in with Feraligatr, we're going to commit to the farm down. They do unfortunately, however, make the move. We're going to have to take it, and it is an Icy Wind. I don't know what the point in going for Icy Wind is there, because my switch clock is basically up. The opponent tries to go for a Peekaboo play. They come in with Gallade in the back. I think the opponent was a little bit too quick there. They were sort of expecting just an insta-throw. People don't always insta-throw in that situation. I think you try to go for a catch after like a couple of Shadow Claws, not just immediately. Anyway, here comes Azu. Very awkward lead for me. Technically, my whole team can play against it, so this lead is not the absolute worst. I definitely can play against this thing. If I wanted to, I could shield through it, but I don't really like giving up too many shields whenever I've got a Feraligatr in the back. Also, I'm assuming they have some sort of an answer to poison in the back, so I'm not like super keen on shielding here. I can basically set this up for a huge Feraligatr farm down. The opponent insta-swaps into Dunsparce, and again, I just don't really have a good answer to Dunsparce safe swap. I just for some reason keep seeing a ton of them here. The opponent decides to throw this move off in bad timing. I'm non-shadow. I definitely can let that move go. I'm going to commit to good fast move timing, 4 and throw. I think the opponent's insta-throwing either because they're bad at timing, or basically because they don't want me to catch the move. I'm going to shield the second move. I've got a lot of energy here, and I can get a huge farm off of the Feraligatr. The opponent comes into it. This is just so frustrating. This is just not working out. I have to try something different. This team that I decided to use, this team basically does not make a lot of sense. We're using double Mud Slappers, but ABA Ghost, so we're ABA weak to Ice, and we're super ABA weak to Dark. So if we get like a Dark lead, like a Mandibuzz or an Umbreon lead, it's probably just an immediate GG. This team is super unbalanced, but it's just kind of one of them things where it's like, these are the Pokemon that I've got available to me. I am just going to try to go for something. We'll go for a fast move pressure team. All of these teams I'm using aren't working, so we'll try something different, right? We'll try something a little bit unique. Something that might core break a lot of the teams that I have been seeing. We're seeing some Drapions in the back. We're seeing Dunsparces, stuff that's not that great into Mud Slappers. So I decided, like, I found this really good Gastrodon quite early on in the challenge. We powered it up last week. We're going to start using it. The opponent comes into a Skuntank. It's Poliwrath double Dark Poison, and that's going to be good games well played. A very hard RPS against the opponent there. Poliwrath double Dark Poison, big shout out to my good friend Jimmy Finn. He's a big fan of the Poliwrath double Dark Poison. I do want to say he's the first person who came up with that team. But in the next one here, we do have quite an interesting one. Drifblim into Feraligatr. This is super tough. We come into the Gastrodon, and we're going to look to basically overfarm as much as possible. In these situations, whenever there's a swap, I like to try to overfarm, because sometimes the opponents may mistime the first move. It's a little bit more awkward. I take the Hydro Cannon. The opponent does not throw their second move here, and we're going to look to get off our second Body Slam. Basically, we're up 2 shields in this situation, and this is probably quite fine for me. Golurk up 2 shields can do very well into whatever backline you see. I'm going to 2-shield the Golurk here if necessary. Basically look to get off whatever I can against whatever comes in. The opponent comes into a Diggersby. We're going to go for a massive dynamic punch here. This will look to do very heavy damage. That does heavy damage to the Diggersby. We're going to come into the Drifblim here. Diggersby can throw fire punches. Absolutely no problem here whatsoever. Basically all of the moves are very low damage or resisted, whether it be Scorching Sands, Hyper Beam, Fire Punch. We're very happy to take these moves. I'm going to farm this the whole way down, and that's going to put the opponent in a really tricky position. They have Clodsire. I have anticipated the catch. I sort of paused half a turn to see if the Poison Sting came through. I'm still expecting the catch, but the opponent does not yet go for it. We still have a decently healthy Golurk here. We come in here, we're going to look to slap this the whole way down. and that's basically GG's. Double Mud Slap, aka Slap Hole, is a very kind of cheesy strategy, but it does work very well. Now in the next one here, we get an opposing Slap Hole team. It's Sandslash lead. Unfortunately, we're forced to come into Golurk. Golurk can basically fast move pressure through the Sandslash, and oftentimes Golurk can actually sort of force its way through a Gastrodon or a Marowak. So just like that with Flip Swap, we're going to get our Drifblim on their Slapper. Look how much damage we're doing here. We only get off one move, so I decided to go for the Dynamic Punch. No reason not to at this point. We come into the Gastrodon, we're going to start slapping the life out of the Sandslash. We can take any one move here, and we're in a very, very good position here. They come into Marowak, we bank all of the energy. We can't survive a Rock Slide. Do I decide to shield here? I do decide to shield, and the opponent Bun Clubs me. You guys know I absolutely hate getting baited, but we do go for an Icy Wind here, meaning that the Rock Slide will not be knocking us out or even close to it. The opponent cannot exactly Mud Slap us down, so we are in a very good position here nonetheless. The only thing I have to watch out for is the swap. The opponent's Switch Clock is not quite up yet. We can get off this Icy Wind, and this is basically GG's. If a Body Slam banged, we go straight for it. We would still live an Ice Punch from here, so we're basically in a very fine position now. So after starting off very negatively, we get a very positive set, we get a 4-1. The question is this enough to get me to Expert? Surely this is enough from here, come on. Big 4-1, we get a Wobbuffet for GBL rewards, absolutely useless. We get 2748, come on. We're 2 points off Expert. I gotta play another set, I gotta hit Expert, come on. Please don't tank, we get a very bad lead. We come into Golurk, the opponent meets us with a Marowak. We're heading energy. Can we possibly flip this match? At the very least, if I can get 2 shields here, I can farm it all the way down with Drifblim. Oh, this is amazing, we get 2 shields here. We can farm this down with Drifblim. We can take a Rock Slide here, and we can try to commit to the farm down. Will the opponent go for it? They do go for Rock Slide this time. We're gonna hardcore commit to the farm down. Is this a Rock Slide again? Unfortunately it is. Okay, it's 2 shield Gastrodon time. In comes Golurk in the back. We have to go for the big move right here. I shield the Shadow Punch. I don't want to get too low right here. I've got 2 shields, come on. I'm going to go immediately for this move. I'm not going to let the opponent get me super low, where they can Mud Slap me down, Powder Snow me down. We're not going to let the opponent put us in a position where we can get farmed down basically. The opponent will make a move here. I just need to pray that the Switch Clock's not up. I need to go for this move immediately. I need to be able to outpace the opponent's Marowak for health. We get rid of the Sandslash, now it's a farm down race. We do farm it down just in time. We have a lot more health, and this is starting to look pretty good. If we can just win 2 more battles, we're basically fine. Terrible lead in the next match, we come into Golurk, and the opponent comes into Azu. Now one thing that I learned about this matchup is, you can basically get 2 shields off Azu, or very, very close to it depending on IVs, and depending on how much of an energy lead they give you. They go for Ice Beam here, I shield it. I'm going to try to build up to 2 moves here and try to get them both off. I need to survive that one bubble that went through. If I survive, I can get off 2 of these. Unfortunately, we don't, but we can come in with Drifblim. We're going to take the Ice Beam here, try to farm it the whole way down. Then I could try to get off an Icy Wind, or I could just swap straight out. I decide to just basically take the move here. I'm going to put it all in Gastrodon at this stage. The opponent goes for Psychic Fangs. I swap straight out, banking the move, and the opponent comes into a Goodra. Very, very interesting here. They go for Aqua Tail. I figure the opponent will realise that I might make it to 2 Earth Powers. I decide to shield the first move. I don't bait, I full send the first move, because oftentimes people will call the first one. They decide not to call it here, and I'm going to just have to settle for a Body Slam here, unfortunately. We get off the Body Slam. That probably would have been enough. I should have probably just went for double Body Slam. The opponent gets off a move here. We can actually just about farm this down. I'm going to get off 1 Mud Slap here, 2 Mud Slaps, and we even get off the Body Slam. This is perfect. This should just about knock them out. And currently in this set, we're 2-0. This is absolutely perfect. This is what we're trying to do. Malamar lead in the next one. The opponent ends up throwing in very good timing here. 14 turns into 15. When you're using a 1-turn move, you always try to throw right before the move ends. The opponent here makes a fantastic catch onto the Dugong. We get off an Icy Wind here. This will debuff the opponent, which could be very valuable in this matchup. Of course, the opponent will return the favour, Icy Wind right back, but this is perfectly fine for me, because I can basically look to land an Earth Power and hopefully commit to a farm down. Icy Wind is 5-4, and so is Drill Run, so we CMP in the second move. We do win CMP, and hopefully we can basically farm this the whole way down at this point. Icy Wind coming in, we should be able to just about farm it down. We are pretty low in health here. In comes Malamar. We're going to fire off this move immediately. This will do pretty heavy damage, even though we're debuffed quite a lot. We go for a swap. The opponent comes into a Cacturn of all things. I think we're cooked here. Are we cooked here? Yeah, we're absolutely cooked. Cacturn is just going to sweep the backline, unfortunately. Once again, we get a very terrible lead, and we get a very terrible safe swap. Morpeko lead, Quagsire safe swap into our Golurk. What I'm deciding to do here is probably try to get 2 shields off the opponent. I think the opponent's on 9 mud shots at this point, so I decide to go for the move immediately here. Guarantee both shields off the opponent. Look to farm it down with Drifblim, not before I flick my screen off, and try to look to get off energy on the Morpeko, and try to sweep with Gastrodon up a shield basically. We come into the Drifblim here, take any residual energy they've got on the Quagsire, and we can look to potentially fire off a move. They actually do end up getting a Stone Edge off. The opponent aggro pivots here. I know this can only be a Psychic Fangs or an Electric move. The opponent goes for Psychic Fangs, and we're going to look to commit to a massive farm down here. Could we still win this? It's a Feraligatr in the back. I think we still win this. We land the big Earth Power. Of course, they debuffed our defense, not our attack. So that still does heavy damage. I'm going to get this Body Slam off immediately. I'm not messing around. I am getting rid of this Feraligatr ASAP. Not letting them get to 2 moves. And that's going to be GG's well played. And hopping into the final battle of the set here, we have a Fortress lead. We come into Daddy Golurk and the opponent comes into Azu. Now, depending on how quickly they swap, you can get off free Shadow Punches. I think once again, the opponent's swap is pretty quick here. They get off the Ice Beam immediately here. I'm going to try to build up to back-to-back moves and try to get both of them off. If we can get both of these off, this is an amazing position for us. We just need to live that one bubble at the end. If we live that one bubble at the end... Oh, they actually let it go thinking that I did live the bubble. We won and throw in this. Now we're in a really good position because we can start hammering this thing with Shadow Punches. The opponent even decides to call the potential Dynamic Punch. Very good call by the opponent. They do decide to just sacrifice this. In comes Charjabug, in comes Daddy Gastrodon. They are going to play it out for a little while here, but this is absolute game over here. All I need to do is get off 2 Body Slams, and this should be absolute curtains. So by the looks of things, guys, we have Expert secured. This will be 4-1. We're going to get off this next Body Slam. The opponent will continue to play this match out, even though it is just obviously over. Drifblim even lives a Discharge, so like this is just super over. Funny thing is, we don't even die to that move. We get on an extra Mud Slap through. I come in here, try to go for a cheeky catch, and yeah, we can just basically farm all the way down. I was super tempted to no-shield just to BM the opponent a little bit, but I did doubt myself a little bit. I thought, you know, what if I don't live a Discharge? Maybe I shouldn't risk it. So GG's well played there. We get a win there, 4-1, back-to-back 4-1s with this team. Like, this team should not be working this well, guys. This team is super imbalanced, and it really should not be working this well. We started off the set on 2748, we get a 4-1, so we should be really close to 2800 elo. I'm catching Inkes like crazy, trying to catch a good one. I've not been able to catch a good one yet. Inkay has been super frustrating for me this event. I've had so many good IVs, and oh, what? A 0-15-15? That's exactly the same Inkay that I've got on my main account. This is going to go up to 1491 CP. I knew it as soon as I seen it. I've got this exact Inkay on the KingGBL account. I evolve it immediately. I've been trying super hard. Now with Malamar, you do want to get an attack-weighted one. There is a breakpoint where you basically can beat Azumarill in the 2-shield scenario, basically by side-waving it the whole way down. Guys, we absolutely smashed it, 2793. And at this point I thought, like, I'm running this team that makes absolutely no sense. I'm somehow getting away with it. But guys, unfortunately, disaster struck. I decided to play my 2 sets thereafter, and guys, it really did not go well. We just kept getting core broken, man. Like, we kept finding all the Pokemon that we were trying to avoid, basically. All of the Pokemon that core break my team, like Dark types in the lead. This is the hardest RPS you can possibly imagine. We immediately go 1-4 after hitting Expert with the 4-1. So we're basically back down to around Expert range. And once again, I think we have another 1-4. Actually, we do end up getting a free time. We get a Frigibax here, which is pretty cool. I've caught a decent amount of Frigibax. If I can get a half-decent IV1, I'm actually getting very close to having enough candies to build Arctibax for Great League. We end up getting another 1-4 and we're back down below Expert again. But guys, we did hit Expert today. Super happy with it, man. And we built a lot of really good Pokemon for the challenge, and we're making massive progress here. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, it's absolutely free, and let me know your thoughts and feedback in the comment section down below. We have the full week of Great League. I really am not a huge fan of Open Great League, and we also have Go Battle Weekend this weekend. I am still trying to hit Legend on my main account. Once I hit Legend on my main account, I'll be putting a massive focus on this and trying to hit Legend as soon as possible. We have a couple of half-decent upcoming events with Bundlebee spawns, Miltank spawns, and maybe a few other things that we can use to round out the account. But I think at this point, we have a very decent core of Pokemon. It still is a little bit difficult for me to make somewhat balanced teams, but we definitely are getting there. We have a lot of useful options, and considering we started this account about 24 days ago, we had an entire week of Little Cup, which was super inaccessible for me. All of those things considered, hitting Expert is a massive achievement. Now we have to make the next push to see if we can get from level 1 to Legend. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.